listening, the Philadelphia Eagles have been right there. You're talking about offense and defensive dominance. They've been right there as far as one of the top teams. I didn't see anything last night that would change my opinion. Because if we look at the season and you say, in week number 13, Philadelphia, regardless of what our expectations with Philadelphia were, they're going to go to Seattle and play a Sunday night game. You think, oh, they're going to lose that game. Oh, there's a great possibility of that, how good Seattle's been. But the reason that we look at it a little bit different is because Seattle hadn't been great at home. Seattle has a bunch of injuries. With their offensive line, how would that go against Philadelphia? One of their strengths, their defensive line. So it didn't play out that way. Right. Seattle played a phenomenal game. They went at this game as if they're a team that's been in the playoffs the last 5 or 6 years. Like they have the experience. They need it. You say, is there a must-win situation? Seattle had to win this game. And they got off to the great start, got the crowd support behind them, got the early lead. Philadelphia couldn't track them down at the end. But very impressed with what Seattle did. My expectation for Philadelphia had not changed. It's either them, New Orleans, and potentially the Rams, but the Vikings they can get the number 1 seed. So who do I think is better? I still think Philadelphia might be a little bit better than the Vikings because of their quarterback, who to me last night didn't disappoint at all. He just went against a guy in Russell Wilson who was phenomenal. I mean, off the charts. Jenna, one of the first things that you wanted to learn from us when we started this show was like, when you guys say when the offense is off schedule, Jenna, last night's game, that video is inside of the football almanac trying to explain
what off schedule is.
Yeah, when the offense is off schedule and you need it. Russell Wilson and what he did last night, he neutralized that rush. Very exciting for Seattle. My expectations for Philadelphia have not disappointed, but their game in Los Angeles is even bigger now because they're on the West Coast for this 2-game road trip. They have to get a split.
All right, you said a lot there that I want to respond.
It's our show.
No, I know. No, it wasn't a criticism. It's just there's a lot there to digest. First, to answer the question, like, is the Eagles still one of the NFC's best? Sure. Are they the NFC's best? Well, I hadn't had them there yet this season. And I think what you're going to see now is more of the country coming to exactly where I've been, which is there are 6 teams in the league that have distinguished themselves among the others. 2 in the AFC, the Pats and the Steelers, and 4 in the NFC. The Saints, the Rams, the Vikings, and the Eagles. And you could rank those 1 through 6 almost any order that you would like. Going into this game, had the Eagles closer to 6 than to 1. Coming out of this game, I have the Eagles closer to 6 than to 1. But I'm not going to really, pound the table and argue if you have them, the Eagles are the 2nd best team or the 5th best team. Those 6 teams are the best. I thought the Panthers were one of those teams. This week, they went to New Orleans with a chance to prove that. They didn't prove that. Like, I think those 6 teams have distinguished themselves. But the thing that you said that I totally agree with is what you said about Russell Wilson. But the thing that you said that I can't quite figure out is what you said about Carson Wentz. That Carson Wentz was great yesterday. Carson Wentz, if we are going to evaluate you as the league's leading MVP candidate, that wasn't a great game. A 2-turnover game. One of those turnovers took 7 points off the board. Another turnover.
Did I actually say Carson was great, or did I say he was good? Did I say he was great?
I thought you said he was great. Maybe I wrote it down, so that's what I think that's what you said. But I wouldn't even. Let's say you said good. I wouldn't even say. I don't know how you can say Carson Wentz was good last night. He had some really good moments. He had some amazing Carson Wentz moments where it feels like he and the quarterback across from him yesterday are about the only 2 quarterbacks that can do that type of stuff. Like, oh, he's going to get sacked. Cam can almost get sacked and get out of it. What Carson Russell can do is almost get sacked and then throw the ball 40 yards downfield. He had some unbelievable moments yesterday.
So what was he bad at yesterday?
Well, he had a game-changing fumble. That's a bad play. When they were trying to come back, he threw the ball.
Yeah, but when you analyze the play, he's running to the end zone, all right? He gets hit and fumbled. It wasn't like he was careless with the football. That's part of getting hit. That's part of being in a contact sport. I believe that play changed the direction of the game, but to me, I don't look at that as being a super negative play with a quarterback that runs with the football an awful lot.
Well, I think you have to be, because of the silly rule the NFL has, which is that's a turnover. That's the fumble out of the end zone. Instead of getting, if you fumble it out of bounds, you keep the ball. If you fumble out of the back of the end zone, instead of the team's on the 20, it's the most damaging play you can make near the goal line. I think you have to be extra careful with the football. That's first of all. Second of all, his team scored 10 points. Like, this is one of
the... Yeah, they did have 450 yards, though, right?
They did.
Oh,
and
okay.
But, Cece, you've been telling me... I believe you've been telling me, I know Coach Mangini has been saying that the yard stat, when we were talking about the Patriots, don't worry about the yards, worry about the points. The point stat is the one that we focus on, and when you come into the game as the highest scoring offense in the league, and you score 10 points
right.
in a critical...
That's not the first good offense to go to Seattle and score 10 points.
Yeah, but Cece, we went into the game talking about if that Seattle defense is what we thought it was going to be without
But we watched the game. Mm-hmm. Their defense played great.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's what we're analyzing it on. Regardless of what we thought was going to happen, you have to analyze what happened in the game. Seattle's team came to play. They looked like a veteran team that was playing with, we must win this game. That's the way I look at it. That's the way the NFL seasons happen. Sometimes when a team has more emphasis on winning because they must win, you go on the road. Seattle, still one of the toughest places to win. So that, to me, I'm analyzing Philadelphia just like I do any other team. New England, if they had a slip. Minnesota, if they had a slip. These teams have been the most consistent teams, and they warrant being at the top of the NFL.
Well, and I agree with you there. They've been among the most consistent in the league.
If we are going to talk about Russell Wilson being in contention for the MVP, does this team play as well as they do without Russell playing like he does every single game?
It's impossible.
Kind of right? So is it a dangerous situation for them to be in, where they have to rely on him to be able to do that week in and week out?
He made at least 10 plays, totally off schedule. Free runners in the backfield, defensive end, defensive tackles, and forget the yardage. The negative plays that he kept them out of by being able to get rid of the football, that's not a number that you can calculate. And it's hard to play that way every week. And that's why I don't believe Seattle can have a long playoff run, because they're too inconsistent. You're not worried about their playmakers. They were playing zero coverage, man-to-man, no guy in the middle of the field against Philadelphia a lot last night. I mean, against Seattle last night, this Philadelphia defense. So Jimmy Graham has been a huge highlight for them. It's 9 touchdown passes from Russell Wilson, but they really haven't had a consistent threat. So it's hard to keep that up.
Yeah.
Cece, so as far as what it says on the screen, should it be in the MVP conversation? His raw stats would say no, but as far as the V and valuable, it's an overwhelming yes. He's going to set the NFL record for highest percentage of yards he accounts for. He accounts for 82% of his team's total yards, and he's accounted for 29 of their 30 touchdowns, which is insanity. I want to ask you this question, because I think this is one we agree on. I'm not sitting here saying Russell Wilson's the best quarterback in the NFL. I believe that to be Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers when he's healthy. Drew Brees is up there. I do believe, though, there is not a single quarterback in the NFL better suited for what Seattle has than Russell Wilson, because of what shambles their offensive line is in, because they can't get a running attack anywhere else. I don't think there's another quarterback in the league that could have the Seahawks in the position Russell Wilson does.
Well, one thing that I know for certain, a lot of the reason why Russell holds the ball is not only the offensive line, is because of his height. Okay, he can't see. Okay, so he's got to hold the ball and allow things to develop a little more than the other guys. Aaron Rodgers can play in any system. I don't care if they couldn't block him or not. Aaron Rodgers will be able to avoid them and still be able to get the ball down the field. Now, Russell is unique in his overall ability because he does scramble, but he's scrambling to throw the ball. He has the best run-pass combination. I'd much rather have Russell than Cam, because he is a better football player, he's more accurate, and he's more consistent. And he's more elusive than Cam.
Oh, listen, he's better at that than anyone in the league. What he did last night, the off-schedule stuff, and turning it into super positive plays, he's the best in the league to me by a wide margin.